or feel free to start laying down. Eyes can be closed or open. We'll start with just a few words from this yoga teacher. Her name is Susanna Barkataki, and she's amazing. She's a yoga culture advocate, and she's been working on diversifying the yoga field and leads conferences and workshops. And so after we go through a couple of words from her, we'll move on to a meditation. And so one of the reasons that I want to start with some words from her is because I found myself frustrated today as I was in my 17th Zoom meeting that my body wasn't behaving the way I wanted it to. I couldn't focus on the screen anymore. And I found myself saying body, how dare you betray me and not do what I want you to do. And I realized that it was actually the exact opposite. I was betraying my body by not listening when it was saying Marley, it's enough. You've got to step away from your computer now. You can't keep doing this. You're hurting me. And so I was not listening, and I am now. And so that's why we're starting with a meditation today. But I also really appreciate Susanna's words because she's talking about decolonizing yoga and taking it away from this very white dominated wellness space and moving it back to the roots of yoga. And so I'd like to quote a few of her words on the origin of yoga. And she says, quote, "Yoga is not now, nor has it ever been, a practice aimed at physical mastery for its own sake." You just pause the music so you can hear. She says, "It's not even a practice aimed at quote unquote stress reduction so that we can function as better producers and consumers in a capitalist society. Yoga was originally intended to prepare the body as a foundation for unity with the spirit. The limb of asana, which is our physical practice, aims at strengthening the body. Asana, along with meditation, aim to harmonize body and breath in order to attain deeper and deeper states of meditative awareness called samadhi. The purpose of this kind of meditative awareness is to experience, practice, and live oneness of mind, body, and soul with the divine. This kind of freedom is called samadhi or liberation." And I think these words of Susanna's are just very beautiful given the time that we're living in and the revolution we're starting and moving through. And also just as a reminder of where yoga came from and how we practice it in our own bodies and our own spaces. But feel free to take her words with whatever level of spiritual engagement you would like. And I'd invite you to reflect upon that as we go through our meditative moments, allowing the eyes to close or gazing softly at the floor in front of you. And I invite you to take an inhale and crawl your shoulders up towards your ears. And exhale, roll them down the back. And as you breathe here, try and take slow inhales through the nose and deep, long exhales that sigh out through the mouth. And perhaps you take a body scan from the top of your head all the way through the shoulders, arms, and torso, the hips, the legs, and the feet. And notice any place of stickiness, feelings of perhaps some tenderness or something that's sore, or even of strength and comfort. And I invite you to breathe into those spaces. We'll take 5 deep breaths together. I'll cue the inhales, we'll exhale with a sigh. And perhaps send your breath to whichever parts of the body, mind, or soul could use a little extra love. Ready, inhale. 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 Last time, big inhale. And sigh it out. And then you can take your fingertips to your temples if you'd like, and work a few circles for a few seconds, rolling the fingertips forwards. Just massaging the temples, and we'll make our way around this space. I personally spend so much time lately scrunching my forehead as I try and look at something on my computer. I think our eyes deserve a little extra love. And then bring your circles in the other direction, rolling the fingers backwards over the temples. And then bring them up over the brow bones, and from the ends of the brows all the way through the center. And come down the bridge of the nose, and then scoop under the eyes. And we'll do that a few times, up over the brows, through onto the bridge of the nose, and scooping underneath the eyes, working out that stressed and tired eye space. Keep going. And then the next time you meet at your temples, allow your fingertips to draw down the jaw, and then perhaps around and onto the neck, letting the chin dip to the chest. And you can intertwine your fingertips behind the head, pulling the chin a little deeper, allowing the crown of the head to come towards the floor. Take a deep breath in, filling the belly, ribs, and chest. And exhale. Breathing at your own pace. Slowly swooping your head over to the right side, right ear to right shoulder. And we'll start with our left hand on our left knee. Noticing how this focuses the stretch on the neck. And then you can reach that left hand out and see if you can find that happy angle that elongates the stretch through the neck and into the shoulder and upper arm. Let the right hand fall away from the head and down by the right hip. Reach the left arm up and over as you reach the left hand and the head over to the right side of the room. And then sit up nice and tall. Bring left ear towards left shoulder, placing the left hand on the right side of the head. Right hand on right knee. Take a moment's breath here. And then reach that right arm out away from you. Letting the left hand fall away from the head and down towards the left hip. Reach the right arm up and over. Stretch yourself over to the left side of the room. And then sitting up nice and tall. Allowing the eyes to close one more time or remaining closed if they still are. 5 slow breaths of inhaling shoulders to ears. Exhaling, working the shoulders down the back. Sometimes I like to start with my hands either on the chair that I'm sitting on or on the floor and feel my fingertips press into the floor and raise up as I roll the shoulders up. And then heels of the hands touch all the way through fingers as I roll them down the back. And then we'll switch to 5 shoulder circles forwards when you're ready. And when you finish with those circles, you can bring the soles of the feet to kiss in our butterfly or Baddha Konasana pose. Or if you ever feel like or are doing this practice seated, the whole point is about the opening of the hips. You can just bring the knees and legs wide and walk yourself forwards, whether that's with feet together or legs wide apart. Walking those fingertips out on the floor. Sometimes when I'm in this stretch, I play with the distance between my heels and my hips. I find that if I move them further away, I have a little bit more mobility to crawl myself down in between my legs like a little ball. And if I bring them closer, I have to focus more on the direction of the spine and the engagement of the chest as I come down. We're gonna hold here for 10 more cycles of breath. And I invite you to set an intention both for your practice and the rest of your week. Slowly sitting yourself up, keeping your chin tucked to your chest until you're seated upright with the shoulders rolled down and back. Lifting the chin to look up and out. Hands come to the outside of the knees, pressing them together. Allow the body to just curl over the legs for a moment. And then send those legs out long in front of you. We're gonna warm up our toes now, because in case you can't tell by my socks, my feet are really cold today. So we'll start by pointing and flexing the toes. This camera angle is very funny. Sorry, you're really staring at my toes right now. I highly recommend wool socks for Ithaca winters. And then flexing the feet, we're gonna do an exercise from when I was a sprinter in high school. We used to do this before we would run our first outdoor meet of the year, which was normally in March. So like there was still snow on the ground, but we had shoveled the track and we were running in tank tops and shorts and freezing. So to warm up our toes, you would squeeze your toes together 5 times, holding for 2 seconds, and then take 2 seconds to release. So ready, squeeze all of the toes in and release. 4 more. Really hard to run when you can't feel your toes. It's also hard to do it. You'll take a few ankle rolls, rolling your toes out towards the sides, pointing in opposite directions. And then switch sides, coming in. Letting your feet find stillness. Inhale the arms up towards the sky. Exhale, reach out towards those feet. Pretend you're trying to get your nose in line with your toes. So it's not about how far down you get. It's about trying to keep that nose in between your toes. So we're not allowing the neck to relax too far. We're looking out and walking forwards, no matter what height that puts us at. Breathe here. And walk yourself up. Cross right ankle above left knee. Option to keep left leg out or bend it in nice and close. Coming in for a twist. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, twist over to the left. Your hand or elbow can come to that knee. Sorry, twisting to the right, backward. Coming through to center. Send that left leg out long. Right foot to the inside of left thigh. Inhale, arms up nice and tall. Exhale, dolphin dive forwards. You can reach for the foot or the shin or the thigh, or wrap a strap or scarf around your leg. walk yourself back up. Crossing the left ankle over right knee this time. Inhale up, exhale to the twist. Coming back through center, left leg out long, right foot to left thigh. Raise the hands up and rock yourself down. Walk yourself up nice and tall. Bring the soles of the feet to the floor in line with the hips. And sit the hands back behind the hips. And just windshield wiper those knees, lifting up the opposite hip. So my knees are over to the right, my left hip and glute are lifted. And then I'll go to the other side. So we're just adding a little bit of a hip opener, an extra hip opener into our supine twists. And then next time your legs fall over to the right, allow them to stay there. Walk your hands back in. Bring arms to goddess. And twist your torso over to the right. You can stay up nice and tall, lower the hands down, or come onto the forearms. And perhaps walk yourself a little further back once you get there, exploring where you find the best twist for your body. If you're lowered, pressing back up onto your hands, bringing the weight back into the hips as the arms raise off and we twist ourselves forwards. Hands come down to the sides, knees raise up and then switch over to the left. Arms to goddess and twist the torso to the left. Lowering to whatever position feels best for you. Raising yourself up if you're lowered down, arms up, twist forwards. And coming to whatever seat feels good, I invite you to find hero if you would like. This is where you're seated back on your heels, torso up nice and tall. And if you'd like to stretch out the soles of the feet, you can tuck your toes and sit back on your heels. Feeling free to change your position at whatever point your body is calling for you to. We'll raise our arms up towards the sky and then grab opposite elbows, beginning to open up those shoulders. And if you'd like, you can reach them just slightly further back than the head. So originally we're up over the head. You can come slightly backwards. Nothing drastic. And we release fingertips towards sky. Sweep the hands down and bring the hands to the back. So it's okay if you can't or don't want to grab opposite elbows. We're just kind of crossing the arms on the back and feeling that stretch in the shoulders, whether you're here or here. You can grab whatever parts of the hands or arms feels comfortable. And release. I'm going to take some arm circles now. Your choice whether you want to do arm circles with chicken wings to avoid hitting things in the room, or if you take a full extension wherever you're at, fingertips or hands in towards armpits. We're going to move forwards first 5 times. I broke a tea mug the other day doing this because I foolishly did it next to the countertop with a mug of tea on it. So swing carefully. And then we'll do 5 backwards. And when you're finished, hands come to the floor, shoulders over elbows over wrists, hips over knees. Tops of the feet can be on the mat or the floor, or you can tuck the toes. 5 rounds of cat-cow. Inhale, belly lowers, chest lifts, look up. Exhale, arc the back, tilt the pelvis in, look towards the belly button. Once you find neutral, inhale, right arm to the sky, look up to those fingertips. Exhale, thread the needle under the left arm, coming to rest on right shoulder. And let that left arm explore, perhaps out front, maybe over to the side, or reaching for the opposite hip. If you're looking for an added twist, you can take prayer hands here, bringing the hands together, pressing into that right elbow. Next inhale, we unwind up to the sky. Exhale, settle back to table. Inhale, left arm reaches up, look up. Exhale, thread the needle. Inhale to unwind to the sky. Exhale to table. Tucking the toes and preparing to lift the hips to the sky for downward dog. I just need to take my socks off. Feel free to meet me there. We're going to take 5 breaths or so if that's comfortable for you. Always feeling free to lower into child or a different stretch of your choosing. Lifting those hips up. You can walk the legs out or shift the hips from side to side. Maybe you even shift forward to plank and ripple backward to the dog. Spending these 5 breaths, following whatever movements your body is asking you for. And then start to walk the hands towards the feet, coming into a forward fold at the back of your mat. And you can be up on fingertips, or you can bend the knees to bring the hands to the floor, dropping the head. Maybe you grab opposite elbows. Breathing here. Next inhale, slowly crawling your way to the sky, seeing if you can take the whole count of 5 to roll yourself up. Head tipping up last, shoulders and arms rolling back. Sorry, you can't see my face anymore. We're coming into a squat anyway, so bring your feet wider than the hips, turned out 45 degrees. Adjust your pants if they're falling, and then bend yourself down into the wide-legged squat, trying to make sure that the knees don't go further than the ankles. So you might be up nice and high, you might be down kind of low. But what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna kind of shift the hips side to side. Like, I mean, for me, I'm pretending I know how to dance because I don't. You might actually be dancing. And then you can even add a straight leg into one side. And maybe you stretch the opposite arm out long. Just taking some side body movements. Sometimes I do these stretches on a run and then people stop to look at me because I'm needing help or being crazy. And then we come back into that wide-legged lunge and arms come to goddess. We're gonna take 6 goddess breaths. We haven't done them in a while. Trying to keep the elbows at the same height as the shoulders when you're in the squat. Inhales will stand up tall, fingertips reach towards the sky. Exhales will come back down into that squat, but with a huh. Like release all of your pent-up frustration about 2020 and life into that release. So, I'll do the inhales, and then we'll all expressively sigh on our outtakes. Ready? Inhale. 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 3 more. Inhale. 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 And then stretch the arms from opposite side to opposite side. Work that energy through the body, releasing through every portion, moving the shoulders and then the hips and the sides. And then when you're ready, finding wide-legged forward folds. Maybe you need to adjust the width of the feet. Taking some small shifts in the hips. Take a moment to intentionally drop the head down towards the floor and loosen the jaw. If it feels good to you, you can flip fingertips towards toes and walk yourself back. Or reach the hands out in front of you for wide-legged downward dog, extending through the shoulders. Wherever your body chooses to be, 4 breaths. And then slowly walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. Bring the hands to the hips. And stand up nice and tall. Heel toe those feet back underneath the hips. And make your way to the front of your mat. We're gonna walk our way through a few flows. This first one we're actually not going to do on the breath. We're gonna very slowly go through the movements. And then the next couple of flows we'll do 1 breath per movement. So bring your hands by the hips and then stretch them out to the side and then reach up to the sky, look up. Then we'll take our swan dive forward, reaching the hands down to the sides and tipping the head towards the floor. Fingertips reach to the mat. Bring hands to shins, look out a couple feet in front of you. And then place hands underneath the shoulders. Step both feet back to plank. Holding here, pressing through those shoulders. So to make sure that you're not releasing into them, you actually want to kind of arc the back a little bit and take a moment to check that the booty is not up towards the sky. Then lower the knees and the chest, keeping the elbows tucked in for this. So this time your booty is up. And then the chin. And then like a little worm, snake your way out along your mat, keeping those elbows in, tops of the feet, hips width apart. Peel the chest up and off, coming into baby cobra. And then lower down. And here we'll switch to breath work. We'll take 5 cobra breaths. Inhale, pressing up to whatever distance feels good in the back. Exhales, lower down. And then bring your head back down to the floor and pressing through the palms, shifting back through the hips. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Doing a check-in. Is each fingertip gripping the floor? Are you extending through the shoulders? Are your hips reaching up towards the sky? Have you taken a bend in the knees that helps you better accentuate your practice? Can you feel your toes making contact with the floor? Raising up onto the balls of the feet, walk the feet in towards the hands. Lift the hands up to the shins, look out. Release back down into the fold. And then sweep the arms up towards the sky. And then we'll sit back in our chair, bending the knees, sitting back into the hips. Arms up. Make sure your shoulders aren't up to your ears. Lower them down, give them a little shake. And you can raise and lower here if you'd like. Or you can hold and perhaps take a twist. Holding on each side for 3 breaths. For some people, this means elbows to knees. For others, the chest is still raised. If you're twisting, switch sides. Then everybody come back through center. Send those arms out. Stand up nice and tall. Hinge at the hips. Lower down. And swing the arms back and forth, giving a little bounce. Perhaps even bending the knees, straightening them. And then find stillness before slowly crawling the fingertips up the front of the body. Rolling the shoulders back, chin lifts, look out. We're going to do 2 rounds of flow now on the breath. I invite you to keep pace or go at your own. You're feel free to take the flows with me or take one that feels better for you. The first flow that I'll do will be knees, chest, chin to cobra. And then I'll show you chaturanga to up dog. Feel free to join me. Feel free to just lower down as you choose. Feet hips width distance apart, hands by your hips. Inhale, raise up, look up. Exhale, sweep down, hands to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank. Beautiful. Inhale here. Exhale, lower knees, back and chin. Inhale to cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes, raise the hips, downward dog, 5 breaths. You can always lower the knees and come to child. And then inhale to the toes. Exhale, bring your feet to your hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. One more flow. Inhale, rise up, look up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to plank. Deep inhale. Exhale, lowering chaturanga, coming to 90 degrees. Inhale, flipping onto the tops of the feet, pulling through up dog. Exhale, rippling back, downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Inhale to the toes. Exhale, lower down to the knees. And on your own breath, bring big toes together. Sit hips back to heels. Arms out in front of you for child's. I invite you, if you'd like, to come up on the fingertips and walk the hands just slightly further out than normal to stretch and elongate through the shoulders. Breathe here. And walk the hands over to the right. And then over to the left. Hands coming back through to center. Option to bend the arms at the elbows and take prayer hands behind the neck. Releasing the hands back down towards the ground, making your way back onto your feet. Sending the legs out in a V. We're going to be reaching to opposite sides in the middle. Totally okay if the width of your V has to change for these stretches or depending on the day. If you have a good wall by you, I really love an open V position on the wall before bed or in the morning. So if that's something you'd like to incorporate, you would just bring your bottom to the wall. I normally sit down next to the wall, bring my legs up, and then shift myself over, open my legs. And it's a really nice stretch to hold for a few minutes to open the hips, especially in cold weather. But for today, we'll just be seated. And I invite you to bring your hands up towards the sky, look up, and then keeping the gaze up towards the sky and then crawling down the wall in front of you as you lower down. You can bring hands out long, or you can sit up nice and tall and work on lowering down to the elbows, whatever feels good. It's important to make sure here that your toes aren't tipping in and your knees aren't rolling inward. If you're finding that happening, bring your V a little closer together or sit up a little taller. And then taking a moment to notice the difference between when you point your toes and flex them. Working through that stretch a few times. And then we'll walk our hands over to the left, framing the left leg. If you'd like to, you can bend the right foot in and come down long. And slowly walking your hands over to flame the right leg. Noticing that sometimes as we switch sides, there's a little creakiness, a little soreness in the hips. Or at least I'm hoping that's not just me. Bring yourself back through to center and sitting up nice and tall. Bring the legs together. Coming down onto our backs. You can either take the arms out in front of you, engage the core and lower the back down, or walk the hands out behind you, lowering down however feels good. Bringing the knees in and coming into your happy baby. Gentle rocks from side to side. And then hug the knees in and let them droop over to the right, looking out to the left. And then slowly swing the knees over to the left. Look out to the right. Bringing the knees through center and then finding your final meditative posture. Perhaps that's legs out long, hands behind your sides for your Shavasana. Maybe you find a comfortable seat. As you breathe in this position, I invite you to feel the air trickling in through the nose and then slowly escaping through the lips. Allowing the breath to wash over you like a wave. Through the toes and legs. The hips and abdomen. Shoulders, arms, neck and head. Allowing your intention to sit in your heart and on your mind before settling into the subtle and beautiful pattern of the breath. Just breathe. Bringing subtle movements back into the fingers and toes. You can roll to your right side. Taking a moment's breath here. And then slowly pressing yourself up into a seat. Hands on the lap or pressed together at heart center. Filling yourself with gratitude for your practice today. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. By the mercy of my teachers, the light within me honors the light within all of you. Have a beautiful evening. Thank you all so